Welcome back, rankers. It's been a slow SEO. Just in the blog now video on spammy backlinks. You might want to go and read that. So what happens on a slow news week for SEO when not much is happening? Well, I asked for a review and see if we can help one of the viewers with their site. Some free SEO advice, which you might be able to use yourself on your own site. So I put it out a few minutes ago, and these guys came in, but they weren't as quick as this bloke over here, Miles Harris, said, yep, I'll take it up. And then Steve Vellis from the Honey Bar gave him a bit of stick, as is his want. So the site that he wants me to have a look at is a site called Hewitt. I'm just bringing up this. HewittSports.com. So I asked for Webmaster Tools straight away, and he gave me that. Now, Miles knows a thing or two about SEO, and so he's already pointed out a couple of problems to me, specifically that the site was moved to a different host. He said he's cleaning up heaps of rubbish on it. It's a family show. You can't say that on the. Have to hide that bit of text there, Miles. Had a lot of bad tags, still not convinced with category structures, things like that. Had over 2,000 404s. They switched domains and told no one. Not great. Remember, if you are going to a new site, there's two things here. You've got an existing website, and you're putting up a whole new look, feel. Maybe you're changing the CMS. Maybe you're making really big changes. You need to make sure that first thing is that you permanently redirect all the old pages to the new site. That's a given, right? The other thing that you need to do, though, which is what a lot of people don't do, is work out what you're currently ranking for, what's currently giving you traffic right now to the site, and organically, I mean, and where are those keywords ranking currently? Set up a ranking report. You've got to know where you are. It's like anything. It's like you've got to have a map, right? But if it's all very well and good to have a map, but if you don't know where you are on the planet, a map's pretty useless to you, right? You want to get to over there, but you don't know where you are. You don't really know where over there is yet. So in relationship to where you are. So by getting that ranking report done first on the phrases that are driving traffic, you can keep an eye on those things. Then what you have to do is go into the site and work out why are those phrases currently ranking. And for some sites, it's gold. It's actual business those phrases are driving. So you need to understand what's making them rank. So not only you need to do all that 301 stuff, you need to have a look at the existing ranking factors before you move and make sure it's replicated on the new site. My ideal change of site, someone moving to a new CMS, is basically we just change the look and feel, but navigation stays the same, menu structures stay the same, H1s, text, copy, everything else stays the same. That's my ideal. It never happens that way, of course, ever. So you've got to spend a good deal of time getting it to that point. The ones that we've done recently have just come off without a hit. It's just been beautiful. It's just like, goes live, bang, no changes, and a couple of days later some things start climbing up because Google can read the new site better or whatever. Anyway, back to Miles' site, HewittSports.com. So, he's coming up for 13,000 search impressions in the last month. He's getting about 317 clicks according to Google and Webmaster Tools. Probably not accurate. That gives you a feel. What I'm seeing here is a lot of search phrases that you're appearing for in the number 1, 2 position, and they've all got either the word logo or they've got the word picture. Typically, that's a sign that you're ranking for Google images really well. So it says that Google likes your site for certain images. And, when I go and check that, any of those searches, that's pretty much what is happening. And we'll just bring that up here. So we can do, say, great hockey pics. And we can see this one here. is hewittsports.com. So that's why Google says, hey, you're ranking number one for this phrase. Well, no, that photograph is ranking number one for that phrase. As it turns out, you're not here on the site at all. But before I go there, let's just go and have a look a bit deeper into Webmaster Tools about the things that Miles has already told us and that we know about. Okay, first thing I'm going to do, I want to go and have a look at crawl errors. I want to know if a user comes to your site, how much of an issue it's going to be. Well, I can see there I've got rising errors. So I don't know when you took over, Miles, or when they moved the site, but we had 308 here. Fixed. Thank you very much. And then up we go again. That's not a good sign. And then, poof, down we go. This is more stable now, but there's still a lot there. And when were they? The last ones were detected just recently, 9th of March. And what I want to know is how is Google finding this link? And I go in here, and Google's telling me it's finding these links from pages actually on your site. If that's the case, you need to fix that. Chances are that could also be from an old crawl that Google's done in the past. And it says that I know that this link here was on these pages here from a previous crawl that I've done. Google doesn't actually talk like that. That's just me putting words into its mouth. The other thing that I'm seeing here is, so we've got 188 of those. Okay, you've told us that they're getting fixed, but I would just check out what happened here and how come they're increasing and dropping. And the other thing that is interesting here is that it's crawl stats, right? Under, and we can see here, it's yeah, that's pretty nice. Yeah, speed is well, it was back here. It was up at 3 seconds to time to load a page for Google anyway, the Google bot. Now it's down at 1.2 seconds. Great. So, okay, maybe they changed the hosting here around, when's that, mid-January perhaps? And that actually improved the load times of the site. That's great. And then you come up here, and this is kilobytes downloaded a day. And then you get to, like, yesterday, well, not yesterday, last week, and it goes, Google, for some reason, is downloading on that day 29 meg of data from your site. What? That's massive. Now, usually that will correspond with a big spike in pages crawled, but that's not what's happening here. So the only reason Google tends to do this in our experience is it's found a whole heap of new content. Well, not necessarily new content, new URLs. Maybe it's the same old content, but new URLs, and it's going, and crawling it again. That could be an issue that it's, are the images suddenly bigger or something? Anyway, something to keep an eye on, definitely. The other thing I want to go and have a look at is the index status. So we can see here, it's like, it started getting indexed on the 28th of April last year. Bang! Yep, new site. La 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 la. 9,500 pages, and then whee! Boom. Now this might be a symptom of you actually saying I'm cleaning up a lot of this rubbish in the index. So that's fine. 12th of January we had 3,500 pages, but then around the 29th of 12th of January. The 1st of December, not the 12th of January. Google in their backward dates. I know, it's annoying. And then on the 29th of December, we had 3,322 pages, and then we went from there on the 5th of January to 4,000. So we had a jump of nearly 800 pages, or actually more than 800 pages getting indexed. And then it's a bumpy ride around there. Now this could be once again, a symptom of you changing things and getting rid of things that shouldn't be there, pulling things out of the index, shoving new things in, whatever it is, keep an eye on that. This obviously is not good. You want a nice, stable gradient. Now with the keywords, and what you want to have a look at, you're talking about the categories, and have you got those right? Before I even get into that, one of the things that I did notice, I did a crawl on the site with the Screaming Frog crawler, which is an excellent crawler, by the way. And you can see here I've got all these 301s moved permanently. Now they are ones that you do want 301 moved permanently. These are all the pagination type stuff. And you're saying to Google, don't go to those. Well, rather than move permanently, those links shouldn't even be there. All right, we don't want Google crawling things on the site. You don't want a user clicking on a link, putting their mouse over it. Think of user's perspective. You don't want a user putting its mouse over a link, seeing the link pop up, maybe, in their browser somewhere, like, on the task status bar or whatever, and then clicking it, ending up at another page. You don't want that, okay? It's not good for the user because, hey, they get a surprise. The other thing, but then we got some of them that are not, if you have a look at here, are not redirected. They're there, and I think you're going to find that they are duplications, because when I go in and have a look at HTML improvements, I'm getting 34 duplicate title tags, and typically this will be from those different paginations, or in this case, these are preview pages. I haven't actually looked at these, but most of these duplications are, let's just have a look here. Is Google going to load it? If not, we'll just go straight to the site. Let's go straight to the site. And so we've got this site at preview-2, and then we have this one. Okay, so right here, we can see the duplicate page title. You've got Perth Heat at Brisbane Bandits, Perth Heat at Brisbane Bandits, and of course, it's a different page. So that needs to be fixed. You can't have this duplication of titles, because once again, you're not telling Google enough about the site, enough about the page. I've got to move this on quickly. I can feel I'm going too long. So fix up all that stuff. There's stuff about your categories and those sorts of things. Have a look at under the crawl index, under the Google index, I should say, not the crawl index. Have a look at your content keywords, because it'll give you an indication of what Google thinks about your site right now. So right now it thinks that the most frequent word on the site is ice, then it's Melbourne, then it's sports in some form. So ice, Melbourne, sports, great. You probably don't want it in that order. So you need to change the authority of those ice, Melbourne, sports. No, you don't rank for it. So even the most authoritative phrases on your site, you don't actually rank for. So what you're talking about with the categories and those sorts of things, think of it from the user's perspective first. So for instance, if I was building up a new site that I wanted to rank for some sort of SEO course, I would want to have different sections of the site that were relevant to the user for SEO, and then I want to put them into different sections. So I might want to say, well, let's have a section on backlinks. That's relevant. And then within that section, I might have advanced backlinking, beginner backlinking, wherever it made sense. And then I would interlink them with other parts of the site so that the user could get more information. So think of it as a guide, if you like. I think that's a good way to think of it, because you're trying to help a person, teach a person, lead a person. And to do that, you've got to be logical in your approach to do those sorts of things. So don't... I'm not a big fan of, say, date categories. Unless you're doing a lot of Google News, then it's important. But if you're not doing Google News, then think of, in your case, the sports. Maybe the venues is something important. What is it that the users need? What's helpful for the user? And then work it back from there. Don't get into the trap of thinking it from the perspective of, what's going to give me the most keyword depth here? What's going to give me the most authority for Google? What's going to give me the most Google juice? Take it from the perspective of the user. And just also the thing that we always must do is make sure you have a look at the Google index and see what's... I'm going to type this properly in a second. And see what's in there. I know you've already done this, and it should match up with Hewitt's Sports. Did I spell that wrong? Probably. HewittSport.com, no .au. Well, that's one thing we didn't check. Who is the audience? Is it US? Is it Australia? Because it's the home of Australian baseball and ice hockey news. Interesting mix. You really got to, for your categories, you really got to split those two down the middle and delineate, because you're going to be wanting to rank for phrases in those sports. So if I go to, I just want to show you one thing. Because you're a .com, what you've got to check over here is your little cog. You've got to check your site settings. And your targeted user is Australia. Good boy. All right. About 4,000 page results. And one of the things I'm going to do here is selecting a page at random. And I want to see if you've got, you know, I mean, this isn't great. That was bad, that page. Bad as in it's hardly got any content on it. Or it's, oh, I see it's a category. Baseball, yeah. But you see these big things here that they don't, this is really annoying. They don't have a lot of content. I would almost, I think it looks to me, the reason I'm not fond of that page, for a user, that doesn't look great. You know, even if you drop down these massive images. And I know that's not what you're asking, is it good for the user? But what I want to see here, because if it's not good for the user, Google is not going to rank you. And look at that, we've got this page and this page. They look like duplicates. Certainly duplicate page titles. Just quickly see. That's the one we just had a look at. And then, yeah, no, I said those categories, yeah, they're not great. So you've got this, yeah, well, you can see duplicate page titles, and you had that piece of text, that same piece of text appearing on those two pages. So that is going to be a bit of a flag for low quality, because I don't think that's great for the user to see it that way, and especially depending on how it's found in the navigation structure as well. Hopefully that's helpful. Sorry I couldn't do more for you, Miles, but if the show goes too long, you know, visits drop off like this. So we'll see you next week. Thanks very much. Bye.